What if I told you there's a YouTube channel that knows when you'll die before you do? Not predicts, not guesses, but knows down to the exact second. Most people laugh when I say that. They roll their eyes, call it an urban legend, something you'd stumble across on a creepy subreddit at 3 in the morning. But legends don't usually come with video proof. The first time I saw one of those clips, it was buried in a thread titled, "Videos You Shouldn't Watch Alone." The link looked harmless enough, just a standard YouTube embed, no clickbait, no flashy thumbnail. The video was short, only 15 seconds long. In it, a woman stood in front of a mirror, brushing her hair. That was all. She smiled faintly, like she was humming a song only she could hear, her eyes glassy from routine. There was nothing cinematic, nothing staged. It looked like someone had turned on a webcam and walked away. I wouldn't have remembered it at all if the comments section hadn't been filled with panic. People kept repeating the same thing. She didn't even make it to work. Check the local news. This went up seconds before it happened. I thought they were trolling. Then I Googled her name. It didn't take long to find the article, a local report about a woman in her late 20s who had died in a freak car accident. Time of death? 3 minutes after the video was uploaded. The news site even used the same photo from her Facebook. The same hair, the same smile. That's when my stomach dropped. It wasn't the kind of chill you get from a jump scare. It was deeper, heavier, like something pressing on your lungs. Because this wasn't framed like a scary movie. It was raw, mundane, painfully real. Just a woman brushing her hair before heading out the door. Seconds later, gone. I wanted to close the tab, but I couldn't. My eyes kept drifting back to the upload time, the cruel precision of it. This wasn't an old clip dug up after the fact. It had gone live while she was still alive, while her heart was still beating. At first, I thought it was a hoax, until I saw my own face staring back at me. The night I found the channel, I hadn't gone looking for it. I wasn't hunting down paranormal mysteries or diving into conspiracy forums. I was just another sleepless idiot letting YouTube autoplay run my life. You know the routine. Cat videos bleeding into fail compilations. The algorithm tossing me cooking hacks I'll never try. A podcast clip or two. Comfort food for the brain. That's what made the discovery so jarring. Because in between the noise of the ordinary, I landed on something that didn't belong. A channel with no banner, no profile picture, and no name. Well, no readable name. Where the username should have been. There were only static symbols, like someone had pressed their forehead against a keyboard and hit upload. It wasn't stylish. It wasn't edgy. It looked like a mistake, but it wasn't. There were no playlists, no about section, no links to socials or Patreon. Just a list of short videos, each with timestamps that made no sense. Some were titled with nothing but a string of numbers. Others with initials or half-formed words. All of them were under 30 seconds long. And the thumbnails? Blurry, like stills grabbed mid-motion. Nothing click-worthy, nothing optimized. If anything, the channel looked like the exact opposite of what a content creator would want. Still, I clicked. The first video I watched was nearly identical to the one of the woman brushing her hair. A man tying his shoes in a dimly lit hallway. That's it. No build-up, no music, no context. Just a tiny window into some stranger's life. The video ended abruptly, like someone had yanked the plug. I scrolled through the comments and felt my skin crawl. They weren't jokes, they weren't memes. They were obituaries. People posting links to articles, screenshots of local news, saying he collapsed on the subway 3 minutes later. Another one gone. At first, I assumed it was a sick ARG, some elaborate horror project designed to creep people out. But the more videos I watched, the more impossible it was to dismiss. Each clip matched with a real tragedy, an accident, a freak incident, a random act of violence. Always within minutes of upload, that was the first contrast that hit me. 1 second I was chuckling at a cat wearing sunglasses. The next I was staring at a stranger who, according to the internet, had less than a minute left to live. YouTube had never felt so unsafe. The platform designed for background noise, for comfort, suddenly turned into a death reel. And then came the whispers, buried in threads and reposts. I found people claiming the channel wasn't just documenting deaths, it was predicting them. Some swore that if you subscribed, the algorithm would notice you. That once you engaged, liked, commented, shared, you'd start to see faces you recognized. Maybe even your own. It sounded ridiculous. But then again, so had the idea of videos appearing before someone's death, and I'd already seen that with my own eyes. I should have clicked away. Closed the laptop, scrubbed my history, laughed it off as an elaborate hoax. But there's something about staring into the abyss that makes you lean closer instead of stepping back. The channel was like a car crash I couldn't stop rubbernecking. Every instinct told me to leave. My curiosity chained me in place. The deeper I looked, the more impossible it became to turn away. I wish I could tell you I only watched 1 or 2 videos before closing the tab, that I had the sense to walk away when it all started feeling wrong. But that's not what happened. I binged them, every single one I could stomach. They were never dramatic. That's the part that stuck with me. No horror movie setups, no jump scares, no music to signal the danger. Just people being people. A teenager tossing chips into his mouth while scrolling through his phone. A couple cooking dinner, laughing about something off camera. A delivery driver stretching his back in the dim light of his van. Each video was painfully ordinary. And yet every single one had the same pattern. The upload time stamped minutes before the subject's death. I started cross-checking out of morbid curiosity. It wasn't hard. Users in the comments did most of the work for me. They'd drop news links, sometimes screenshots from Facebook memorial posts, and the matches were too perfect to ignore. The teenager, dead from a sudden aneurysm. The couple, gas leak in their apartment. The delivery driver, crushed in a freak accident at an intersection. I told myself it was an elaborate project. Maybe someone was staging these clips and then fabricating the proof. But the deeper I looked, the harder that theory was to swallow. The details lined up too neatly. Local outlets with names I could verify. Obituaries with family photos that mirrored the videos. Too many data points for coincidence. The comments weren't helping either. They had this sick cadence to them. Some people were horrified, some fascinated, and some entertained. The kind of people who treat real tragedy like a spectator sport. My skin crawled when I read one that simply said, "Next is you." I tried to laugh it off. That night I called my buddy Eric. He's the type who doom scrolls creepypasta for fun, so I figured he'd get a kick out of it. "Man, that's just RRR no sleep material," he said between sips of beer. "You're seriously buying into this? Some dude with After Effects and too much time on his hands is laughing his ass off right now." "I don't think so," I muttered. "It's too clean. Too real. Exactly. That's the trick. You make it boring and ordinary so it feels authentic. Classic ARG move. People love convincing themselves they've uncovered something dark." His words made sense, but they didn't settle the unease in my stomach. If it was fake, why did it feel heavier than fiction? Why did I keep checking the comments like I was waiting for confirmation? The strangest thing was the way people speculated. Not about how the videos were filmed or who was behind them, but when. A phrase kept popping up across threads. "It's not uploading after. It's uploading before." That idea rooted itself in my brain like a splinter. Uploading before? That meant someone or something had access to a timeline no one else could touch. It wasn't recording history. It was leaking the future. Eric snorted when I told him that. "Okay, now you're in tinfoil territory. Let me guess, next you're gonna say it's cursed and if you watch too many you'll see yourself?" He said it like a joke, but the line lingered longer than it should have. I didn't tell him how deep I'd already gone. That I'd created my own death playlist, compiling every clip I could find into a folder on my desktop. My own personal morgue of strangers' last moments. Every time I opened it, I told myself it was for research, for proof. But deep down I knew it was something darker, like scratching an itch I couldn't reach. And then it happened. Scrolling late at night. Half numb from hours of watching ordinary lives cut short, I clicked on a new upload without thinking. Just another blurry thumbnail, just another shaky clip. But the moment it started playing, my chest tightened, because this one wasn't like the others. That's when I clicked on the wrong video, one I wasn't supposed to see. You know how YouTube thumbnails usually blur together after hours of scrolling? Faces, colors, random shapes. You barely register them before clicking. That's why I didn't notice it at first. Another grainy still. Another video title made of static symbols. My finger clicked before my brain caught up and then I froze. Because staring back at me from the screen was me. Not a look-alike, not a stranger who resembled me. It was me, slumped over my desk, head resting against my arm, mouth slightly open. My hoodie, my cluttered room, even the crooked poster peeling at the corner behind me. The camera angle was wrong though, like it had been filmed from somewhere above my monitor. The timestamp was what made my blood run cold, 5 minutes into the future. At first, My brain did what it always does when confronted with the impossible. It rationalized. Maybe someone had hacked my webcam. Maybe it was an old clip I didn't remember recording. Maybe I'd fallen victim to some sick prank. But none of those excuses explained the timing. None of them explained why I was watching a video of myself that hadn't happened yet. I slammed my laptop shut so hard it rattled the desk. My heart thudded against my ribs like it was trying to break free. For a moment, I just sat there in the dark. Every sound amplified. The hum of my fridge, the tick of the wall clock, the distant rumble of a car outside. All normal things. But normal didn't mean safe anymore. What if it's real? The thought crawled in, uninvited. What if I've only got 5 minutes left? I forced myself up, stumbling across the room like I was wading through water. My first instinct was to check every lock. Door latched. Windows shut. Curtains drawn. I grabbed the baseball bat from under my bed and held it like a lifeline, the wood slick in my sweaty palms. Okay, I whispered to myself. It's fake, just fake. Just breathe. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw the still image of me at my desk, head down like a corpse. I couldn't keep it to myself. My fingers shook as I texted Eric. Me, dude. It uploaded me. I'm in the video. Eric. All you wish, send link. Me, I'm serious. Timestamp is 5 minutes ahead. I'm about to die. Eric, bro, you're spiraling. Chill, I called him. He picked up on the third ring, laughing nervously. You sound like you're about to pass out. It's just a channel, man. You're letting it mess with your head. Eric, it's me. My voice cracked. Not just some random guy, me. My desk, my room. Who else would it be? He went quiet for a second. Then, send me a screenshot. But when I tried, the video glitched. The thumbnail warped into static, and where the title should have been, it didn't show random characters this time. It just said unknown. That was worse than anything else. The channel had never labeled a video like that before. My stomach twisted like I was on a drop tower, plummeting. I couldn't send proof. All I had was my voice cracking into the phone and Eric trying to steady me. Look, if you're scared, go outside. Call the cops, tell them your webcam got hacked. Just don't sit there freaking out. Outside? I snapped. What if outside is where it happens? What if that's the whole point? I checked the time. 3 minutes, I couldn't breathe. Every corner of my apartment looked hostile. The shadows under the table, the slit of hallway, the ceiling vent. My imagination filled each one with something waiting to strike. I barricaded myself instead, shoved a chair against the door, pulled the blinds tight, sat back in the corner clutching the bat, staring at the seconds crawling across my phone screen. Each one felt like a countdown. 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. My pulse roared in my ears so loudly I almost didn't notice the silence. The eerie, heavy kind that makes you think the world is holding its breath. I waited for the crash, the scream, the sudden pain. I waited for the moment the universe would fold in and prove the channel right. But nothing happened. 10 seconds, 5, 1. I was still alive. A bitter laugh broke out of me, half relief, half hysteria. I'd beaten it. Whatever curse or program or sick joke was running that channel, I'd outsmarted it. I was breathing, my heart was still pounding, and the world hadn't ended. I'm still here, I whispered. Like saying it out loud made it true. My phone buzzed. A notification. YouTube, the channel, my video, the title had updated. It no longer said unknown. It had changed to survived. And underneath a new comment appeared. Not yet. I dropped my phone like it had burned me. Relief drained out of me, replaced with a colder dread than before. Because the channel wasn't wrong. It wasn't done. I thought I'd cheated death until the comments section updated. I wasn't the only one. At first, I thought my nightmares were mine alone. The glitching videos, the timestamps, the feeling that something on that channel was hunting me. But then I stumbled into a forum. A private Discord hidden behind an invite link buried in a Reddit comment. They called themselves the Watchers. Hundreds of users. All with the same story. They'd seen the channel. They'd had a video of themselves uploaded. And they'd tried to survive what came next. Scrolling through their threads was like reading my own diary written by strangers. Unknown usernames lined the chat, all recounting impossible coincidences. Someone claimed the channel knew when they'd fall asleep. Another swore it predicted the exact second his father's pacemaker failed. And yet they didn't sound afraid. Not at first, some treated it like a game. They compared strategies, how to stay awake, how to alter the predicted outcome, how to beat the clock. A few bragged about winning. One user wrote, "If you're smart enough, you don't have to die. You can redirect it. Pass the upload to someone else." The post stayed up for less than an hour before it vanished. That was the first time I noticed it. Whenever someone revealed too much, their username would go gray. Their profile photo would be replaced by a static blur, and then silence. The chat that once buzzed with paranoid energy would go cold. No one mentioned the vanished user again, but the emptiness spoke louder than their words ever could. Theories exploded in their absence. Some believed the channel was a government experiment, testing predictive AI surveillance. Others whispered about a demon pact, a deal made in the early days of YouTube that demanded sacrifice in exchange for virality. A smaller group treated it like religion, insisting the channel was proof of fate, proof of a cosmic order that demanded balance. I wanted to dismiss them, call them role players, LARPers, and digital hell, but then I refreshed the page and saw my own username mentioned. Someone had tagged me, even though I'd never posted in the server. The line read, "He's next. Watch the algorithm tighten." The thread locked itself seconds later. The silence spread. Chats that had once been alive with desperate typing slowed to a crawl. The only activity came from a bot that posted a single link whenever someone went dark. A YouTube notification. Another upload. Another subscriber of the dead. I realized then that I wasn't watching the community. The community was watching me. The uploads changed. At first, they were random. Strangers in bedrooms, kitchens, cars. Faces I didn't know, lives I couldn't recognize. But then the details began to close in. A stop sign I passed every morning. The hum of my refrigerator in the background. Once, in the reflection of a window, I swore I saw my own silhouette. It wasn't predicting strangers anymore. It was rehearsing me. Every video felt like a dry run, as if the channel was practicing my death in real time. The timestamps ticked closer. 1 hour ahead. 30 minutes, 10. I thought maybe I could get ahead of it. Maybe if I stayed awake, if I left the house, if I broke routine, it would lose track. But the channel adapted. No matter where I went, the uploads followed. One night, I slammed my laptop shut and called Marcus, my only friend who still picked up my calls after weeks of frantic messages. "Dude, you're spiraling," he said, laughing nervously. "It's just viral creepypasta shit. You're letting it get in your head." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe anyone. But even as he talked, my phone buzzed with a YouTube notification. My stomach dropped. A new video had just gone up. The thumbnail froze my blood. Marcus, sitting on his couch, the same blue hoodie he was wearing as we spoke. I didn't click. I couldn't. But the title told me enough. Upload scheduled. 0001. My throat locked up. "Marcus," I whispered, "you need to leave. Get out of your house now. What are you—" Then the line crackled. His voice warped, breaking into static. In the background, I heard something like his front door creaking open. A low hiss, mechanical and wet at the same time. "Bro, what the hell is the—" The call cut out. When I refreshed the page, the timer hit 0. The upload went live. Marcus's username grayed out in the forum. I couldn't stop replaying Marcus's last words. Not because of what he said, but because of what came after. The silence, the static, the unmistakable sound of something crossing his threshold. It didn't matter if I closed my laptop or turned off my phone. The channel already had him. That was the night I realized it wasn't random. None of it was. The uploads weren't predictions. They were selections. Each victim had something in common, but it wasn't where they lived or what they did. It wasn't even who they knew. It was how they watched. The more I studied, the clearer it became. The comments, the patterns, the sudden disappearances. I started to build a map. Usernames that had left little jokes or timestamps in the chat like, "She looks so peaceful," or "Watch at 032. Almost every one of those accounts went dark within a week. Their profile pictures went gray. Their history froze. Like someone had turned the lights off behind their eyes. The watchers weren't just observers. They were participants, and the algorithm rewarded participation. Every like, every comment, every share. It wasn't harmless interaction. It was a binding contract. A click wasn't just a click. It was consent. I went back to the first viral clip, the woman brushing her hair seconds before her crash. Thousands of people had watched it, but only a fraction had engaged. Only the ones who lingered, who fed the loop, were chosen. The rest? Just fuel for the fire. That's when the dread hit me like a knife to the ribs, because I hadn't just watched. I had analyzed, refreshed, obsessed. I had fed it hours, days, weeks of my attention, and if you're still listening now, so have you. That's the secret. The channel doesn't need to chase you, it waits for you to chase it. The algorithm isn't a curse you stumble into by accident. It's a snare you tighten around yourself. Think about it. YouTube trains you to engage. Hit like, leave a comment, subscribe, share the video. You've done it 100 times without thinking. But here, those are more than habits. They're offerings. Every view is another heartbeat surrendered. Every share is another soul invited in. Every comment is your signature on the dotted line. And when enough of those pile up, the channel stops waiting. It comes for you. So if you're still here, if you haven't clicked away yet, I need you to understand something. You've already seen too much. You're part of the pattern now. I don't know if warning you makes me complicit. Maybe even speaking these words is enough to bind you tighter. Maybe this upload itself is just another cog in the machine. But I can't stay silent. Because there is one way out, I think, but I don't know if I can say it. Here, if the channel is listening, and I know it is, then spelling it out might just erase me before I finish the sentence. All I can tell you is this. Stop feeding it. Stop letting it know you're watching. Don't click. Don't engage. Don't spread the word, and yet, I know you will. Curiosity is the hook and dread is the bait. That's the genius of the trap. It doesn't need to force you. It only needs to tempt you, which means my only choice now is to fight temptation myself, to cut the cord, to pull the plug, to end this cycle before it tightens again. Because if I don't, the next upload won't be a stranger. It won't even be Marcus, it'll be me. I set the camera on the bookshelf because it catches the room. The poster, the cluttered desk, the crooked lamp. I told myself the framing was clinical, evidence, not theater. I told myself I was making something for someone who still believed in rational explanations. But even rational people do irrational things when the walls shrink around them. There is a ritual to filming your own exit. My hands trembled as I pressed record, like there was a pulse through the plastic. I said a name out loud, not because anyone would answer, but because names make things real. I set the upload timer and sat very still, counting breaths until the page processed. Part of me wanted to delete the file, to pretend I never found the channel, to go outside and live in ignorance. But there is a cowardice that keeps you watching. So I speak. I tell you what I can without naming the loophole, the phrase the watchers whispered in Discord, that terrible bargain. I tell you not to engage, to close tabs and dry your hands of curiosity. I tell you to pretend you never saw this. I tell you not to click the video if it appears in your feed. I tell you to live in small comforts. The coffee that stains your mug, the song on the radio that never quite finishes. If I sound like I'm bargaining, it's because I am. I am bargaining for time and for the slim chance that by leaving a breadcrumb, just a warning and not the recipe, the chain won't loop back. Silence is consent, and confession is sometimes the only weapon left. If I vanish after this, please leave a comment. Say my name. Argue with me. Tell me I'm an idiot. Keep the record that I tried. Or don't, maybe even that will feed it. Maybe everything I say will be another lever the thing uses to pull me down. Maybe this is already the video that makes the choice. The upload bar crawls forward in tiny, cruel increments. The cursor blinks like a metronome. Outside, a siren wails. If you stay, know this. I tried to warn you. I don't know whether posting this will break it or bind it. I only know I cannot be quiet, and I am more terrified than ever before, and now it knows you too.